It is a very wet day. Tomorrow is my luncheon that was planned for an outdoor fall gathering with some very special ladies. And right now I'm getting tons of rain. I am always grateful for rain, so I'm not going to complain. There's always a plan B. And besides, I think it's going to stop raining in the morning, hopefully. It will still be a bit wet out by, it's a late lunch, so about 2 o'clock. But something tells me it's all going to work out and it will be a beautiful day regardless. And if we have to move it indoors, we'll move it indoors. But this is what we're working with right now. We'll see how it goes. But either way, it's going to be a beautiful day. Always find the glass half full. Mine. When it was at this cold. So God, thank you for bringing us all here today, bringing us safely together.
I'm okay with myself. I love even though you know when I pray, I pray for my loved ones, for my good ones, for the neighbors, for my foes.
Back here.
Yes.
I love it. She's really done a lot of work back here.
What are you laughing at? Are you? No, I'm actually videotaping you.
Oh, great. Wait.
I got you looking funny right here. Like,
Okay.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
Okay, so Jennifer's gonna take all of our pictures.
Oh, okay.
Where do you want us, Jen?
Crown.
Okay.
Adjust your crown, honey.
Wait, are we just standing here on video?
No, it's actually on video now.
Okay, if that works.
Say survivor.
Meet my daughter, Jennifer. I know, she wasn't expecting that, and I just, like, right in her face. So all the ladies who are survivors got the crowns, but all of our supporters got tiaras because they are equally as important. So my baby girl, woo woo woo, kiss mommy on the cheek, kiss mommy. Okay.
Mama, come
okay,
on
okay.
now.
She hates when I do that. That's my girl. So it's been a very, very long day, but a great day because we had all the ladies show up. I am so thrilled that they all made new friends and they were all able to tell their stories, and it was a celebratory moment. This wasn't a sad day. It wasn't about woe is me. It was about survivorship and being a supporter. So thank you guys, as always. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe. I figure I'll give you one last hurrah before everything starts to shut down and take its winter rest. My elephant ears that once stood completely tall, almost reaching the roof of the house, are starting to wilt and die back some now. And I typically let them stay as long as they want, and then I'll cut them back when they just don't look really great at all, and they're getting to that point. There are some things that I'll overwinter, like the foxtail ferns. I have quite a few of those in the ground as well in baskets. I shouldn't say baskets. Those are, actually I left them in the containers and just tucked them in some baskets, but I either will plant them in the ground before it gets too cold, or I may just bring those in to overwinter. The coleus, I may bring that inside, or I might just let it die back. Haven't decided yet. So a couple of things I want to share with you, quite a few things. That coleus has struggled all summer long. That started out as 2 plants, I believe, and that's at least 3 feet wide, I would say, and maybe about 2 feet tall. And so if I take a little walk this way, I have some cabbage, ornamental cabbage I'm starting to tuck into some of the planters, and I'm sorry about the lighting here, but this is the pathway I'm going to take this morning, where I just recently did a video on trimming back the sunshine ligustrum, and in some areas I can see it's already put out new shoots. For example, here this was cut down at least 2.5 feet to 3 feet, and the shoots are starting to come back, but that's fine. I'll let them just do their thing. You know, I never talk about the sunshine ligustrum on this side of the garden. I always go that other way, and that's primarily because this is an area that's a work in progress. I just never have loved, I think, and I don't dedicate enough time to this area. But that's something I'll be working on this winter, cleaning up and deciding hardscape ideas. But I never talk about these. So I want to point these out really quick because in this case, I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, I think there are 4 shrubs there. And I planted them really close to do a compact hedge. And the funny thing about this is I bought 4 of these and they sat in little pots and I never got them planted. This was 2 years ago. And I never got them in the ground before winter. So the pots just blew all over the ground during the winter. They didn't get watered. They looked like sticks by the time I got them in the ground. And I knew they were probably dead. But I always say, if you can see a little bit of green, some life, you never know. And so I just planted them for the heck of it one spring 2 years ago, thinking they were completely dead. And this is what I got. So when I say these are some really tough shrubs, they really, really are. Okay, so I'm going to go on a little walk, a little tour. I haven't finished my little fairy garden with my grandbaby yet. We started, never finished. This is the cutout section of the ligustrum that I put planters in. And originally this was going to be a cut through pathway to get to the other side. Didn't do that. So let's see, the wisteria, which is an amethyst falls wisteria, it's going to change a little bit of color. It doesn't give you a pretty reddish. It just starts to die back after a while. It is deciduous, so it will lose all its leaves. But if you look at the twigs and the vining, how it just starts to shape through there, I love how pretty that is. That reddish you see in there, that is a faux bit of color I threw in there just for a fall party I was having. So, I like to tuck pumpkins in different locations. Beautiful red rose. That's a Don Juan rose, climbing rose that I have on an archway. I cleaned up a little bit some of the bottom part, the shoots of this. Let's see if I can back up, get out of the lighting. So I took off some branches at the bottom of the crepe myrtles here because they were looking like just bushes, you know, the entire time. Sometimes you can grow them as bushes. And so those will be losing its leaves here soon too, but they are starting to turn colors a little bit. And the vinca and zinnias are still holding on. They're hanging in there. But I expect all this to die back over the next couple of weeks if we keep getting some really cold weather. The zinnias here, these really tall ones, I planted those by seed. Put them in the ground as late as August because I knew if I could get them in by late August, September, I would get some flowers as long as we didn't get a hard freeze. And that's a really pretty salmon color that I was able to get out of this really fast before we get a freeze. So the coleus is still hanging in. The zinnias look amazing. That's a profusion zinnia. I did not grow those from seed, but I will be next year. But you can see where some of them are starting to die back. They do start to flop over after a while. So I'm going to be cutting all the dead ones out. I do have some carex grass. I planted, oh gosh, probably about 14 of those on the side of the house recently, but I had a few left over I haven't planted yet. So what I do is I just tuck them in different little places. And mums are not my friends if I do not put them in the ground. I have some I put in the ground for years and they give me beautiful blooms, but not always in this case when you just leave them sitting in the pots. They're good for a couple of weeks, in my opinion, especially for my zone. That is a hydrangea that I planted. I've never gotten really big blooms off of it. I think it's a limelight of the smaller version, a dwarf size. It's in the wrong spot. I need to dig that up and move it because it gets a little too much sun here. Even though it may say sun, again, this is Texas sun. So we can't always go by the tag. The Turk's cap is one of the things that holds color, for the longest throughout the fall. And I'm gonna get really close to the Turk's cap. That's a beautiful little bud flower. This is a hummingbird loving plant, or the plants are just great for hummingbirds. So those are still hanging on. I have some things tucked away, like some different types of plants that are really hardy, but I will probably be bringing in that are in pots. Like this is rosemary. I just forgot what this is called here. So some type of succulent. I don't remember the name of it. But I can't believe how the zinnias are still just popping through with all that beautiful color. The Munstead red stone crop. This was a bold dark burgundy red and then pink. It's starting to die back, but the good thing is it acts like kind of a ground color, but it will die back and come back in the spring. Let's see what else we got. A new fountain I just picked up about a week ago. Got a really good deal on. I went to a local nursery, and because they didn't have a lot of business that day, I think they weren't selling many plants at all. And I've been eyeballing this blue. I don't know why I just got into blue. It's never been my color, but for some reason back here in this section, I like doing blues. And I named certain areas. This is the little seating area where you can see a vine growing up the archway, and then the little cushion there. And so it's just a little blue area. My daughter loves this particular color, so I just kind of dedicated the seating area to her. And this fountain was like 325 bucks. The guy said, I'll give it to you for 100 bucks if you take it right now. So I took it, and I love it. It had a couple of little scratches on it. I didn't care. I always call it character. The blue salvia is still hanging on and giving me beautiful color. I'm not getting any roses. I have literally one bud on this rose. And so I don't expect to get any more roses right now. I think the season has passed. So I don't expect that. Tucking in some pansies. I'm going to be bringing in, I ordered this tray that was like $25 for a tray of sample succulents, but I never did anything with it. So I got to take that in and make some individual little pots out of it eventually. The blue, Imperial Blue Plumbago. I can't believe how this thing just hangs around until the first freeze. I love that blue color. I used to have a lot more of this, but look at that. That is so pretty. I love that. So I don't know. I might get some more of those next year. So let's see. I did put in some carrots, Everillo carrots, because my thing was, okay, the lamb's ear is going to die off here soon in the winter, and there will be nothing left. It'll look like a very bare spot out here. So I try to think of evergreen items that I can put in so I can have winter interest. And one of my favorite things, if I come around to the side here in front, one of my favorite things is the Everillo carrots, because you get that color all year long. So I do like that. There's a foxtail fern in there. I think it's hit or miss with those in zone 8. The small ones, a lot of times they will call them annuals, but sometimes I always try to buy the ones that have it listed as a shrub. Oh, and I did pick up 2. Where's my tag? Where's my tag? Let's see. Kaleidoscope Abelia. I've been watching this shrub for a long time. Look at that color. It has that really pretty reddish kind of bronzy color on top of the, I just realized I must really like that chartreuse color because I'm attracted to that a lot. So I picked up a couple of these. One I have in a pot right now that replaced the mom. And then, so I got to figure out where I'm going to plant these. I have two of them. I also have two other shrubs that I never got in the ground. And let's see, here's a tag. This is a viburnum, I believe. Let's see. No, yeah. So it's a copper top sweet viburnum. And you see that pretty reddish color? I bought these early spring this year and never got them planted. I just can't decide where I want them. Now the tag says they're 8 to 10 feet tall. My original plan was to put them on the back fence so I can have some privacy because they should be an evergreen as well. So I just never got them in the ground. And one thing I did learn about them, they did not like full-on sun. Even though the tag says it, they struggle. They seem to be happier in a place where it gets just a little bit of partial sun. So let's see. I'll be cutting back the hot lip salvia. It grows, looks like, on both old wood and new wood. So this is a very young, tender part that's growing now. And mostly new though. Let me see. So I need to do a little bit more studying of this because I didn't get a lot of blooms this year. First 2 years I did. It puts off a very strong aroma too. You either love it or you hate it. I don't have a problem with it, but it is strong in scent. But I need to cut that back quite a bit. And so here are the red tip photinias that I planted about maybe a month ago now. The goal is for them to grow up. I'm going to tree form them and they'll probably get about another 5 feet above the fence. I have two that I've already done that with that are 15 to 20 feet tall. So things are dying off. I have not taken great care of my purple grasses here on this back area. I mean, they've been watered by the rain, but I've just not been consistent with them over the last 3 to 4 weeks. Now, normally, as bad as that look, typically I will take that and pull it up and tie a fall ribbon around them. And I'll give you an example. So let's go back over here. Even though that looks really, really bad, and the rain beats them down, by the way, too. So here's an example here. So you can see how this one stays up. The fountain grass, purple fountain grass. And I just take ribbon every fall whenever these start to flop after a good rain, and I just tie them up so they stand in the pots, okay? I think I have one over here. Yeah, here's a bigger one. They love the sun. Hey, Nola. Hi, baby. We're getting ready to go get stitches out. Yes. Yes, we are. Okay. Yeah, so here's another one. With the ribbon, I just put it in there. Kind of, you can position it wherever you want, up higher, but I like mine right towards in the middle. I found this red cabbage that I love. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. It's called cabbage. Wait. I said that wrong. Not cabbage. I'm sorry. This is called a mustard green. And when I think of greens like collard greens and turnip greens, these are edible, very bitter, and but they actually start to turn green. See the green veining starting to come in? At least that's what I was told and what I've read about. I've never grown this before, but I just put them in a small pot with some yellow pansies that has maybe some of that little purple mixed in with it to match it. And I just love that. So this thing is full of bees this morning. And I kind of just mimic the same thing over here on this side. Okay. All right, so let's go this way. Hello there. That just makes you stop and say hello. Actually, I'll go this way. Where are you going? Where you going? That's really pretty. I can't believe how I keep getting a flush of more and more of this beautiful blue salvia. It just keeps blooming. Now that one gets a lot more sun, obviously, than this one on this side. So I'm not having as much success. It was really full. It's been healthy and happy, but it would do so much better if it had more sun than it has over here. Um, More lamb's ear. All that will be dying back pretty soon. Crepe myrtles are still holding on to their leaves for now. My grapevines are still holding on. I love how they've started to just dangle um, off of the pergola. It literally took 4 years for that to form and happen. I thought they were dead, and then they finally just took off one day. And they just started to really grow. It would be nice if they eventually start to cover the top of the pergola too. Why do I have an owl sitting on top of my fireplace? I have no story for that, no rhyme or reason. I just do some quirky things sometimes. And it doesn't help keep those big buzzers out of my yard that seem to show up from time to time. Okay, so we got some peach blooms still popping in from the drift roses. Those are really pretty. Some things still hanging on. Time to start cutting a lot of stuff back. Purslane is really pretty in the mornings. It blooms. This purslane, I planted one plant in a pot, not in the ground. It spreads a lot. It kind of dropped some seedlings and took off. Every year for the last 4 years, it comes back in this one little spot, and I don't mind. It's just part of that rock garden kind of look. And typically it has a good 1,000 blooms all over it, but it's starting to go to sleep for the fall as well. And then we enter the hot mess zone. So lots of butterfly weed still coming through. And my next big project is tackling this area back here. All summer long, I just did not have the energy. It's just literally the mess zone. No pun intended, it's where the dog goes to use the restroom. So my goal is to finish my pathway so I don't have to get to the end of the fence back there and stop and then turn around and go back. The goal is to take that walk. This will be a gate and I will enter through here and I can do a complete circle around the garden. And hostas are still kind of hanging in there, and more of the hot lip salvia that's extremely bushy, and I'm going to cut back. And still getting some blooms also from the canna lily. Oh, that's pretty. There's the new rose I wasn't expecting to see. This one is called a pinata rose. It's a climbing rose, so there are lots of buds coming in on the pinata rose. That's a beautiful, beautiful color. I love that one. Goes well with the butterfly weed that's right next to it. So yeah, lots of canna lily. Every year I dig this out and give it away or move it to different areas. But those yellow blooms are really still pretty. I tried to deadhead some of these the other day, but look at these giant zinnias. By the way, I planted these zinnias 2 years ago and they still have been coming back. So even though it's an annual, if it's really warm in some places, zinnias always come back for me. And these are the really giant versions. I just typically toss some seed out over in this area. I don't try to cover it up. I literally take a handful and just throw them in and they give me flowers where they want. So and in all different colors, but that's a very beautiful bloom. This thing is so old. It's been here so long. I forget about her sometimes. All right, so that was my quick little rundown. Just a lot of purple heart, that I started with years ago, one of the first plants, and I didn't know any better and would just spread it out and put it in different places. And as a result of that, it can be invasive. Um, I did not plant it necessarily back here. This is just a area where I turn my water faucet on and just catch some junk area. But the purple heart, I dig out every single year trying to eradicate it and get rid of it. This is my chicken coop. That's why I walked over here. For whatever reason, I seriously want some chickens. I'm not going to do it though. So I collect them and I put little plants in them sometimes instead. But that's it. I'm sorry, I just caught my finger in there. But that's it. So thank you guys so much. It's been a beautiful fall so far. And we're pretty much done out here as far as hanging out in our fall view, because eventually I think I'm going to be taking all this down in the next few days, and it's time to get ready for Christmas. So as always, hit the like button. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support and all the great questions you guys send in at times. Leave your thoughts and your comments. I will try my best to respond to each and every one of them. But as always, planting life matters.